Hello everyone. Hello Callum.
Hello Marcin. Good to have you back.
Coffee. Yeah, I've said that, and I've noticed that you've been the one hosting the second in the history umbraCoffee live alone. How was it?
Yes.
How did you find it?
It was fine. It's fine. I was just talking to myself, but no, it was good. It was good. Had a few people watching, which is nice. It's been quite a few weeks, or with people off. There's been sickness, holidays. You've been snowboarding, right?
Yes, I was with my kids during the winter break in the middle of the most busiest and crowded mountains in Poland, where everyone, such as I, did try to go there and use the snow. So it wasn't the most peaceful experience, but I took some proper rest. And we've been missing each other for a couple of weeks, and it's not that easy to find a guest, even if it's maybe less packed week when it comes to work.
It's only gonna continue, Marcin. As you were just saying, you've got another snowboarding trip coming up. We've got Umbraco Spark in the middle of that, which we've got different plans for. We've got it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. And Arek message about the furniture in the office. Yeah, it's not that easy to get furniture for the office. That's the challenges we are facing here. We want furniture. We ordered it, but we are still waiting for it. But yeah, hopefully the echo will be gone, and now I have to deal with the echo still for a while at least. But we are getting there. As I've stated in the tweet, it's February is over almost. That's the time.
Well, honestly, where did this go? When we've been talking to clients about projects, and they say we need this done by the end of March, and you're thinking end of March. I mean, it's February now. That's like 5 weeks away. It's super, super close. This year is disappearing. I saw Owen, I think, today tweeted that it's 110 days till Code Garden, which, again, 110 days feels like a relatively large amount of time. It's not. That's going to go super quick. We've got, I think, 4 or 5 public holidays coming up in the UK over the next 10 weeks as well. So, it's just, more disruption, less work. I've potentially got a US trip in that time. I'm going to Norway. I've got various other things as well. Turkey, France, the lot. So yeah, there's no time to do anything anymore.
Yeah, I was sitting down this Monday and planning the trips, and I also realized, because I'm visiting UK next week, and I thought, hey, it's plenty of time to book everything, right? It's still February. No, it's next week. It's next week and a couple of weeks later. So yeah, it's not easy. It's a lot of logistics, but yeah, this is how it is. It's good if there is a lot of things going on, but at the same time, it's not so many things that are easier to be catched when it comes to this one. But of course, we are all aligning towards the events which we will be talking about today, and hopefully there will be a huge another synchronization point where we can all talk about huge updates, maybe bigger differences, and everything else. But it doesn't mean that nothing happened, of course, this week. So we can start from some of the updates that we've captured, starting from Umbraco 11.2 release, which was released this week. So Rune, as usually, shared a great overview of what was released, and there's a lot of great stuff that was included in this minor release. Right? So.
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago when we were talking about the release candidate, I branded this the dependencies release, because they've updated a lot of dependencies, and this specific killer dependency has been causing some performance problems on Linux. So yeah, a number of updates there. But in reality, as far as minor releases for the CFS goes, this is tiny, really tiny. Like there's no actual features in here, really. There's no other than a couple of community PRs and things, but like there's no headline features, which maybe this is just what we're going to have to expect now, because with like a lot of the features will go in probably into the LTS versions, and then we'll have maintenance for a year or two, and then new features. And of course the team's attention is going to be largely spent now on V12, which is about 3 months away, and V13 new back office plus packages plus everything else that's got to come with that. So it's kind of understandable. It's just interesting to see that we've got a very small major release here.
Yeah, but I had some chats with Umbraco about backporting some of the features. So it's not like Umbraco is not going to develop new features for no LTS versions. Some of these features were already backported, like block list was backported to version 10 to be long-term supported. So it's not stopping the teams from developing new features, but definitely there is a goal towards making them available for long-term support versions, which is also raising a lot of questions about should we wait for the another versions with some updates or migrations. There's a lot of discussions like that flying around, which we all try to address. But yeah, it's a small release with a small but relevant fixes for Linux and other dependency related updates. So it's good to have it, and of course it's nothing stopping us from updating if we're already using 11.1 version, for sure.
I might do a bit of that this afternoon, then just go through a few of our sites that we've got and bump them up to later. It'll take 10 minutes for each one, I think.
Yep, indeed. So definitely check out anything what interests you from the 11.2 if you are not familiar with what is there. Some package updates as well this week, starting from Sift, a package to create dynamic filters for the website based on Umbraco content.
This is quite cool. This is quite a cool concept where so it's existed for a while for V8, but this is now a 10 and 11 release, and I think it's been renamed, or at least the package name has changed, because the package on NuGet's new, but the project's old. It's existed for a while. So yeah, Stuart's built this sort of fully interactive search filter thing that uses Examine to build up your actual search, but you don't have to do any code. You can configure it entirely, which is really, really nice. And I've seen a few examples of this. I know that Owen Jones from Method 4 showed off a similar thing at CodeCabin, where they were using Azure Search to do that and building up filters and letting you configure your entire Azure search engine and building your search page entirely from configuration, or even from the back office. It's a very cool concept, especially for those places where you don't want to go build a super powerful search and someone's already done it.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's a new update, a new release for the new version of Umbraco as well. So for version V10 and onwards. The other one is Limbo Dream Broker, which sounds really interesting. And of course, Dream Broker is an external provider for videos, right?
Yeah,
that's
I've not heard of it, but yeah, it seems this is a picker for this. I think there was an alpha. I don't know if we covered it even. There's been a pre-release version of this for quite a while, but this week Anders pumped out version 1 and version 2 and version 2.01 of this. All in the space of a couple of days, because I think it's, again, supporting V8, 9, 10, and 11 as well.
Yep, that's good. And then another one is a little bit more, might be more relevant for a lot of people, because I know there are a lot of agencies and developers who is using Smidge to minify and optimize the performance of some of the assets in the solutions. And this is 4.2.1 release from Shannon, released 2 days ago, with some multi-targeting for project and some contributions from various people.
I'll take a little pause here. And so Nikolai, who's been contributing here, has been a prolific contributor to most of Shannon's packages, it seems, for now a good few months. I didn't realize he'd been contributing to Smidge as well. He's been heavily involved in Examine and working through getting facets into the core Examine, something I'm obviously quite interested in, and have been loosely at arm's length from, shall we say. So yeah, Nikolai's been working on that as well. He's been doing some great PRs at the core. He was even involved in that in the discussions about this this dependency that's just been changed in Umbraco 11.2 for Linux. He created a patch for that and said, I can release this on NuGet if you want Umbraco ops to do their own as well. He is everywhere, prolific. So huge high five you up to Nikolai. I think he's just gone traveling as well for a few months, so he's maybe taking some time off. Maybe he was getting all of his contributions in one go, but no, huge work.
That's true.
Great work.
Yeah, and that's a great example on how to help, because that's everyone needs help. So that's the thing that with the directed help and of course skills that are helping, it's great to see Nikolai doing it. So yeah, big kudos to this contribution. And of course, the new version of Smidge with some fixes, tests, some additional add-ons is ready to be used. The next set of updates is coming from vendor team, and you can probably tell more about it because I presume that you already bumped it up to the newer version.
I haven't actually, but this is just a small patch release from Matt.
Yep.
In fact, Matt's done a few patches this week on Construct and Vendor. I think one of them. Oh no, this wasn't a licensing one. This one's actually a bug fix. But yeah, it's a small one. And actually on Construct, it's a little bit more interesting because a fix, but including ngrok or ngrok, whatever, ngrok in the license exemptions. So you don't need a license to be able to host your site through ngrok for cross-device testing, etc., which is really cool. I don't know if this is included in Vendor or not, but if it's not, that's great. Something that Matt has done a really good job of with Vendor specifically was making sure that the license is quite permissive for using on test domains like Azure Websites.net, umbraco.io, etc. On those domains you can use without a license, then you need it when you use your real domain. It's something that everything should be doing. I don't know what Umbraco. I think Umbraco do the same as well for forms, but things like ngrok, it would be super, super helpful to have those included as well. So
yeah, I think that Kevin and using is also allowing to use it on Azure Websites URLs and it can be configured that way. But that's a very nice improvement because previously I remember a lot of packages and licensing models were strict to a set of domains and now they can be commonly shared because Azure and stuff like that is the same for everyone basically, and that's a shame to not automate it somehow and allow people to generally use it. So yeah, that's good. So we have a Construct and vendor updates, patch updates, not big updates as well. So definitely worth bumping up. And that's from the packages perspective. And events are going towards us extremely fast, starting from Umbraco Spark on March 10th. So not a couple of weeks from now, but 2 weeks exactly.
2 weeks, and yeah, this is going to be pretty cool. They've sold, I think, 150 tickets, which is awesome. The biggest in-person Umbraco event in the UK for several years now, which is lovely. The talks are looking pretty exciting. Parties, opportunities to chat. I've had a couple of calls with the team there to sort out what's going to happen with umbraCoffee. So umbraCoffee is and we'll and I think the exact lineup, agenda, if you want to call it, like times and everything, are going to be revealed shortly for those that want to start ticking off the talks that they're going to go to, because it's going to be pretty difficult to choose. And to preempt the question of, are they going to be recorded? They are not recorded. So if you're not going, you're missing your opportunity to see those talks. But perhaps ask the speakers. Maybe they'll submit them to other events or share the slides or something with you.
Yeah, and as it was mentioned before, there are some surrounding events for the Spark. So starting from the hackathon the day before, right, on Thursday, with some agenda already shared, and a lot of participants, 21 participants already sign up for the hackathon, and then there is a pre-party also. Announced by Steve and the team there,
and an after party that was teased, but there's no details of yet. So I'm sure there'll be shenanigans on the Friday evening as well.
Yeah, that's cool. So definitely we are looking forward to the relation and summary of the event after all, and there will be an umbraCoffee from there. So you will be hosting this. So we will all learn what happens out there. One more meetup to mention. Edinburgh user group is hosting meetup on 28th. So it's Tuesday next week. And this is the open. No, it's not this.
That's annoying. So Meetup's just added this feature of to say speakers and add details about speakers. But the annoying thing is it's firstly hidden kind of underneath the event details, and secondly, it doesn't it's separate to the main Meetup text, so it doesn't actually says they're still looking for a speaker in the Meetup text.
No.
Oh no, it doesn't now say info below. Okay, my bad. This is a cool looking talk about basically passwordless
authentication,
or 2FA and with Umbraco, which is very, very interesting topic, and something that's incredibly topical given, like, you may have seen this week Twitter saying that they're going to ban SMS
Yes. That was it.
or they're going to charge people for them and push people towards using authenticator apps. They're going to become more and more commonplace. Like, we've been using authenticator apps for a long time, but I would lie if I said we didn't have anything still using SMS based auth for whatever reasons. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, and it's also a cost optimization, right? And to be fair, I noticed that the authentication apps are everywhere right now, and I personally prefer to not leave my phone number, but just use an app. And in this case, it's going towards this direction. But it was really interesting to see this decision from Twitter. But of course, it must be followed by the investigations and calculations for sure.
Yeah.
And I still need to change this authentication method because I was using it.
Yeah.
Next week also, as I've mentioned, I'm going to London. We are hosting a seminar in Novosil office about upgrading Umbraco, and I'm co-hosting it with Frederick from Umbraco team, who will be talking more about Umbraco's new features and everything Umbraco related when it comes to whys and hows to go to the new version. And I will be sharing some of the journeys we had in Novosil when it comes to upgrading various solutions from various versions to the latest and greatest Umbraco. So if I'm correct, the registration is still open. So if anyone
is this
wants
one online only, or is it hybrid?
No.
Sorry, is it or is it online as well?
This is in. That's a good question. I last time
you did was hybrid.
Yeah, definitely this one is offline mainly, but depending from the possibilities, if we'll be able to host the online stream for that one. Previously, it was possible. I don't know this time. I would need to speak with this beautiful man who did the recording and is hosting it in our office. But I can let you know. But definitely, I'm happy to catch up with anyone in London if there is a will to join us. And yeah, that's happening next week. And Cloud Garden, of course, not to be forgotten. It's worth to count down every week.
110 days, as Owen tweeted, but the more important pressing deadline. Oh yeah, I don't think this has been updated yet.
No.
Maybe we need a website. Is it Code Garden yet been updated yet.com? But this one, the more pressing deadline is early bird tickets.
Yes.
End on the 22nd of March. So you've got 4-ish weeks from now to actually go sort that out, or 3.5-ish weeks maybe. So yeah, if you're thinking of going, now is definitely the time to secure a ticket before the price goes up to even more. I don't know if it says what the full price will be, but
yeah. But it will be higher, definitely, and then it's always now the moment when it can be the cheapest as possible for now, at least, right? So that will be of course reminding about it every week, but it's not that far in time. So
there's no further changes just yet to the announced lineup. They've still got the kind of first wave of speakers. So
Umbraco Awards are still awaiting the nominations,
along with the package awards as well. Again, that's part of the same process now.
So yeah, we are looking forward for more announcements from the Code Garden perspective, and the team is busy there to prepare for the biggest event this year. But other event was also mentioned in the plan for today, and this is Code Cabin, of course. Yes. So it's coming back. The 6th Code Cabin even is coming back, and the date is 8th September until 11th September 2023.
Yep.
So is the form already? Yeah, apply form is
still the 7th of July.
And Callum, you've been there last year, or
I was there last year and pre-COVID as well. It's a very good event. I highly recommend it. I'm sure we'll get a bit more detail out of the team maybe closer to the time, but I know there's some plans to maybe change the format up slightly to make it more rewarding, but it's always been a great experience. So go apply. Definitely go apply.
Definitely. Another updates that we wanted to mention this week is one that is outside of Umbraco, but is directly related with Umbraco. Microsoft announced the .NET 8 Preview 1. So the first preview is ready for our downloads, and we can start building applications today. And why it's worth mentioning, because .NET 8 is exactly LTS supported release, which means that it will be used for the next LTS Umbraco version.
So V13 coming December 14th will be on .NET 8. That's already a commitment. But I saw Bjarke tweeted the other day, a few people, I think Nurhack asked him, oh, have you thought about upgrading to this Umbraco this yet? And he said, well, it did actually come up in our stand-up this morning about how we were going to tackle that and when, and I guess they've got other things on. But yeah, it's pretty exciting. On the whole, this update is not super specific to ASP.NET, as in the stuff we're doing with Umbraco. What it's more applicable to is Maui, as in the
Maui, the other platforms,
UI, Blazor, etc. All of those sorts of things. There's not so many improvements to the actual ASP.NET core just yet, but we'll also get new C# language features. Those generally don't get solidified until pretty close to the time. They have a habit of ripping those out quite quickly, quite close to the to launch. But we should get some new C# language features. There's always a really hefty performance boost in these updates as well. So
there's a lot of great stuff out there, and it's still preview, right? So I think it's important for everyone who is doing a lot of work on the latest and greatest .NET to test it out, to bump it up whenever it's possible, and flag issues. This is what community is doing for Microsoft for years already too. So as it will be long-term supported version, it's great to see it released so early to also have some potential for fixes.
Bjarke in the chat saying that there's some improvements to system text JSON, which will be coming, and again will help for V13, where it's all, I guess, going to be new back office, new APIs, etc. Probably all JSON stuff. It's taken me a little while to actually shift my head away from Newtonsoft and over to system text JSON, because the concepts are almost identical, but ever so slightly differently named or ever so slightly differently implemented, and it makes for a little bit more fun. But it's great to see that that's being heavily invested in now, and something worth, if you're already using Newtonsoft heavily, I highly recommend in your projects trying to shift your code over to system text JSON over time. It's where Microsoft's investing all of their efforts for things like gRPC for performance. They need really efficient JSON serialization, basically, it's the way everything's going. I think in the core as well, that's what's being used now as well, system text JSON for everything. So you're going to have to move there at some point. You might as well start thinking about it. It's almost.
But it's good that also libraries is being improved along the way, because it seems to be having more flexible configurations from at least this quick overview. That means, again, more powers in our hands, but at the same time, more alignments to be made if we want to have things aligned between the products and dependencies that we use. So that's really looking good. So looking forward to more, and for the numbers, and as it's mentioned here, I already checked quickly that the final release will be delivered sometime in November at .NET Conf. So
have the dates been announced yet for that?
Not yet, probably. It's still the old website.
We won't attempt to leak anything, but it's usually the 1st of November. So that would be the 7th, 8th or something, November, 8th, 9th. Let's have a look quickly. The 9th, probably the 7th, 8th, 9th of November is typically when .NET Conf is. So
it's in theory plenty of time, but we know how to
run Umbraco on this now. Like you could take your current V11 site on .NET 8 if you wanted to really push the boat out.
And coming back at the end of the episode to Umbraco, the pull request of the week.
There's the banner. Whee.
Yeah. So yeah, this one is about making the support for the inline macros in span within the text-rich editors, and
macros that don't need a wrapper div.
Like
you could put them completely in line in the rich text, which is great.
Yeah, and please, anyone who is watching, raise your hands if you remember parsing the code in the rich text snippet and replacing it with various other things in the past. That was the struggle. That was the times when rich text editor has some crazy wrappers around the macros. And now with this feature, I was always a huge fan of macros. I don't know, Callum, what about you? But I always like the fact that we can do something what is controlled in the central place and is affecting the part of the rich text editor, which is still kind of potentially useful feature because you cannot always divide rich text editor.
It's a super tricky one, right? Because there's been talks about for years, can we kill macros? When do we kill macros? Because it is very, very, let's say, it's probably the oldest feature actually in the core. It's the bit that's not had any change to it in years ever, v4, and it does kind of work, and it has a use case. People do it to put buttons and things in rich text editors. There was a discussion a while back about could we use TinyMC plugins instead? Should we be doing that and doing stuff in a more JavaScript fashion? I don't know. There's certainly no commitment to kill these off just yet, but I don't think they'll live forever. But I don't know what the alternative is, and it's great to see that still they're getting some improvement now. Meanwhile, when they've been around for so long and probably are little used, but this has been a pain point for years, hasn't it? Years.
But I also seen a lot of implementations where everything was done through the macros, because they were possible to be cached, etc., etc. So there was a huge potential with using them for the various cases, and
at least with the new grid and the old grid being retired, we no longer have that idea of a macro in a grid. That was one of the out of the box editors, wasn't it, that they'd give you, say, oh, you can use a macro to put in your grid, but then just use a grid editor, but better things like doctype grid editor came along and said, oh, you can do these in a different way. So hopefully I've seen grid pages that are just macros repeated.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say, that it forced a lot of teams that maybe are not exposed to custom grid editors to go this way, because that's the way, which is already by default there. So multiple ways are not always benefit, but this is of course the great feature, and with the great use case, it's definitely helping to achieve the goals, because still there's a lot of situations where it is needed, even though it may be possible to do it the other way. And that's all for what we have this week. As usual, if there's anything else that we've missed, let us know about it. We're also looking forward for more updates in the upcoming weeks, and maybe more of it will be clarified before the bigger events that are upcoming.
Cool.
So that's all probably. So thanks Callum, thanks everyone for today. I'm just checking chat if we didn't miss anything. That's good.
About two-factor and good or not, or the downsides. I know you've been caught out in the past, Marcin, by
my Twitter was stolen, exactly, and that taught me very directly to apply two-factor authentication everywhere where it's possible, that was a lesson.
I saw a great video today of someone using like a speech synthesis model to do voice authentication with their bank without it being them, as like a way of saying, hey, sometimes some of these still secure-ish methods of authentication aren't the most secure. It's quite interesting. So passwordless is definitely the way to go, as people are saying again in the chat. It's going to take some time. And for people who haven't even started using 2FA yet, that's going to be
that would be a huge jump. That's what crazy. But of course, still like physical keys and stuff like that are potential ways to secure it, because I know a lot of people who do not trust authorities too. So that's another discussion around security. But we are getting into the more secure world. That's for sure, right?
There's also significant improvements to web authentication in recent years. So we've got web authn in browsers now. It's like a modern spec. So that allows a browser or a website to do, like, if you've got, say, a touch sensor in your device or a face scanner in your device, it allows it to actually use that as a form of authentication on the web. So the world is moving in the right direction. We've just got to, it's going to take a little while for everyone to get there, I think, for using it at least.
Yeah, there's still some education that needs to be spread across the people, because for multiple people outside of our industry, it's the password managers or things like that are still an abstract. So that's security to be distributed, and I know that even Sebastian and other people from our community were always advocating security policies, and maybe we'll need to have Troy Hunt visiting Code Garden maybe at some point, doing some crazy stuff. And one of our team members did a presentation in our monthly meeting, and he hacked some of our internal services and exposed what can be done with the unappropriate access. And of course, he was granted with the permission to hack it, so it was ethical. But it was a good lesson for everyone that you cannot trust everything and everyone. It's maybe another topic for some other discussion here. So yeah, thanks for the good chat, and of course share some good policies. The comments are not going anywhere. If you will be watching it after live stream, let us know what are you doing with your passwordless authentication systems and other topics discussed today. And yeah, as usually, join us for the next episode and the next set of Umbraco news. So yeah, thank you. Have a lovely rest of the day, everyone, and the weekend ahead, and see you next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.